Hey guys, it's Annika Singh here at the College Path. Today's video is going to be an interview I did with one of my friends, Mansi, about her experience with the college admissions process. It's going to be a two-part video, and this part is going to focus on how Mansi got interested in her major and what college she's going to. So if you think that that could be helpful or you're interested in that, stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking to Mansi Joshi. Mansi is a rising freshman who will be attending the University of Washington to pursue neuroscience. And me and Mansi met each other at a summer camp that we both went to. She was like a counselor while I was a freshman. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Of course. Is there anything you'd like to add before we get started?
I don't think so. I think you covered everything.
Cool. Okay. So I think the first thing I wanted to ask you is when you were like deciding where you wanted to go to college and what you wanted to major in, how did you choose like UW and neuroscience?
UW, I think I applied to because it was the kind of the main school that was in Washington. And so it was kind of just like a safe place that I had like a place to apply to. And then I applied to a total of 13 schools, which is, I think, a pretty good amount. Most people usually applied about 8 to 12, so I applied a little bit more. But the way that I decided is that I kind of knew that I wanted to pursue medicine in the future. And so I kind of looked at schools that had good like science sort of related programs and advisors and stuff. And then maybe also had like connected medical schools and things. So that's kind of how I decided.
Cool. That's really nice. So
Yeah.
when you were, I guess, deciding that, oh, like science is what I wanted to go into, meds wanted to go into, how did you decide like, oh, like this is my passion and this is like what I want to do for the rest of my life? Because I know like for me personally, like I like a lot of subjects, but I don't like love anything where I'd be like, oh, I could like invest the rest of my life. So how did you go? Like, how did you think about it, or how did you decide?
Yeah, I feel like that's always like the hardest. Like it's a really weird thing to like figure out. But I think for me it was so almost all like ever since I was a kid, I kind of wanted to be a teacher because I was like the one like figure that I looked up to. And I was like, oh, like I love kids. I want to work with kids and I'm gonna be a great teacher. Um, but so my dad is a doctor and there's actually a few doctors in my like extended family and stuff. So there's a lot of people that I get to talk to about like what they do in the medical field and like I just like having conversations with them. I kind of learned a lot about what they do, what their life is like. Um, and so I was like, okay, that sounds cool. And then at Skyline, which is the high school that I went to, they have like a program called the IB Career Program. The way that it works at Skyline is that for that program specifically, I took certain IB classes and then I had an IB or like a career path. And so for my career path, I took sports med. Um, and so my junior year, I was in the intro class, and then my senior year, I was in the advanced class. And with that, I got to learn a lot about like anatomy and injuries. And then I also got to work with the athletes that were there. So I got to learn how to like tape an ankle or how to like diagnose, or I mean, I'm not qualified to like diagnose an injury, but like I was able to observe that and like kind of put pieces together and be like, oh, I know what he has. And I really liked like being able to do that and being able to like work with patients.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was kind of like this, I do see myself like doing this in the future. And yeah, I was lucky to like get that early on, like in high school, but I know like a lot of people kind of have to experience that later in college and stuff. So it's like totally fun if that happens later in life.
So I guess you're just like saying like first like you had a lot of relations where you could like talk to people and like get a general idea, and then you also were like really lucky to like be able to like be in a similar position and you're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Kind of shifting more into like the college perspective. Are there any, I know like you haven't taken any classes at college yet and you start like later on. Are there any classes that you're taking like specifically for neuroscience?
Yeah, so the way that UW works is a little bit different than most schools or most colleges, because so at most colleges you usually get into the major that you want to be in. And then at UW, since it's a really big school, most people don't get their major right away. And so I didn't get my major at UW, so I'm kind of in a pre-sciences major. And then I have to like take certain classes, like chemistry and then bio, math, and all that like basic stuff to be able to apply and get neuroscience as my major. And then after that, for my next, like my last year, junior and senior years of college, I have to take specific like neuroscience classes. So it's a little bit like harder, more like major geared. And then after that, I would have to kind of graduate with that major. But right now, so I don't really know exactly what courses I would take then. But right now, I'm taking chemistry, math, just the basic stuff, if that makes sense. I don't know if that really helps.
No, you're totally fine. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but so since UW's like really big, you applied for your major but didn't get in directly into neuroscience. So for the first 2 years, so your freshman and sophomore year, you're taking like basic, I guess you'd call them science-oriented classes. So like you
Yeah.
said, like chem and math. And then your junior and senior year, you would take classes that are more geared specifically towards neuroscience.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I guess on the flip side, are there any classes that you're taking like just to graduate? Like you wouldn't take these classes unless they helped you with the graduation requirement.
Yeah, so just like high school, how you have like an art credit or like a PE credit, just like that with college, you have to take certain classes like outside of your major. So I don't know about other schools, and like they have those requirements too, but at UW, we have like visual and literary performing arts, I think they call it. So that, and then individuals and societies credits, and then the natural world credits. So natural world is more like the sciences, and then INS and VLPA are kind of the anthropology or sociology. It's kind of more like humanities sort of related classes. So I would have to take those also, even though it's not necessarily related to like neuroscience.
Right. So
Yeah.
were there any like credits that, or like any of these classes that you don't have to take because you redeemed credit from high school?
Yeah, so since I took IB, I got a couple, like a few credits.
Yeah.
So I got credits for bio, and then I got credits for math and then Spanish. So I won't have to take a language in college, whereas most people, if you don't come in with that credit, you would have to do that. And then I took an AP class online, so I took AP Stats, so I'm also getting that waived.
Oh, so that's really nice. So I guess that shaves off a couple classes in a semester. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's most like the serious college stuff, but like on a lighter note, are there any like clubs or groups that you're planning to join in college that you
Yeah.
know of, I guess? Sorry, that you
Yeah,
already
no, good. Yeah, so I think I personally really enjoy dance. And so there is a Bollywood dance team at UW that I really wanted to be a part of. It's really competitive, and I did dance team in high school, which I really liked. So I might do that, except I don't know if they're going to be kind of doing that this year with COVID, so maybe next year.
Right.
That is something I'm interested in. And then maybe a couple of like political, like activist kind of clubs and things that will kind of get me into the community, like involved and stuff.
Oh, okay, cool, nice. And then, so I know we talked about your classes in your freshman, sophomore, and then junior and senior year, but are you just planning on attending 4 years of college, or is there like a broader thing where you're going to go to college for longer, or do you not know yet? I totally understand because what you don't know.
Yeah. So again, like I said before, since I want to do medicine, that's a really long path. And so I think it's a total of at least 11 years. And so it would be 4 years of undergrad. So I would take 4 years at UW, and then I would, if I get into med school, fingers crossed, if I'm in med school, then I would take 4 years of med school, and then they have something called like a residency. So that's kind of where I like work behind the scenes, I guess, sort of, but like with stuff.
I'm up on Grey's Anatomy, you know exactly what you're talking
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like in a hospital. And then I think that is the last step, but there might be more. I don't know. But I think it's at least 11 years, and then after that, I can be a doctor.
That's actually, but that's so cool. I think that the dedication that it takes to being a doctor is like none else. That's why like when I'm deciding, I was like, oh, like being a doctor would be kind of cool. But then I was like, but that's a lot of school. Okay, so I think that's it for college. So now I'm just gonna move on to high school.